Hello, hello. So glad you could join us for today's edition of the 10 TV Weather Impact Show. Meteorologist Meredith Garofolo with meteorologist Aaron White. What a weekend. It was raining, but we had graduations. Maybe it was good luck for the graduates.
Yeah, it was pretty rainy. Of course, we had all-day rain back on Saturday, and then yesterday we had a window where it was dry, and the ceremony kicking off for the Ohio State University graduation around noon, and it was dry, and then there was some rain that came in, so it wasn't totally wild, but yeah, it was kind of a wet weekend.
Exactly.
Unfortunately.
And we continue that as we go into today. In fact, this morning we had some really nasty fog. So we're going to talk about that right now and show you the foggy start that we had this morning. You can just see how bad it was. We had schools that delayed the start by a few hours. The problem was we had light winds and we just had that really unsettled air. So these basically clouds were forming over the ground, but it was so thick you weren't able to see. Some places the visibility was down to 1/4 mile or less. Now, thankfully, heading into the afternoon, most spots that has lifted. Winds expected to pick up a little bit. But we want to get you right to the forecast and talk about the scattered showers and storms for today. Yes, we're not done just yet, and there will be more rain as we go into Tuesday. But by the middle of the week, we might still have a few lingering showers, but it is going to be much drier than the pattern we've had the last couple of days. And in a little bit, we'll talk about the Omega block. Aaron will break that down for us. But let's focus on what we could see with storms that develop. Just like yesterday, a very low-end chance for severe weather, but it's not zero. And any of the storms that develop could turn severe. And if they do, all hazards are possible. But again, this is a very low-end chance. I want to stress that. But don't be surprised if you hear some rumbles of thunder just like yesterday as we go into the afternoon, because in our hour by hour, you can see these are very much hit or miss. This isn't going to be a line like we've seen. This isn't a severe weather event like the ones we just had last week, but we could have some pop-up storms with just a little bit of energy, and especially depending on how much sun we get. As you know, that's an ingredient to really help build a pretty good storm sometimes, especially when you get more sun earlier in the day. But this will continue. You can see for the commute home, we still might have some heavier downpours as well. Again, for Columbus, we'll keep an eye on that for us closely. And then we continue to see those chances of rain right along the I-77, I-70 corridor for some of our easternmost counties. Honestly, I think the best chance for severe weather would be east of Columbus, east of I-71. But again, any storm can turn severe. It just needs the right ingredients. And as we go into tonight, you can see still seeing some steady rain for our northernmost counties all the way up toward Mansfield. And then we get a brief clear out, but brief, because you can see still some showers are expected to develop as we see this area of low pressure sit and spin. This is a storm system. It's just not budging. It's just not going anywhere. And so it's bringing in more moisture and more chances of rain for Tuesday morning, starting for our easternmost counties on the current track, and then sweeping across the area. So you might have a wet morning ahead. Maybe make sure the kids are ready at the bus stop, even though it may not be raining while they're waiting at the bus stop. And then as we go into Tuesday afternoon and evening, still seeing some rain. Could be heavy at times. Not looking as much as a severe threat. It would be looking more for some heavier downpours. Typical ponding of water on the roads. I know when I was driving into Columbus Sunday night, just those downpours could really snarl traffic for a little bit. So just keep that in mind over the next couple of days if a storm does develop when you are out on the road. But you can see by Wednesday, right now things are looking to clear up nicely for us for the first half of the day and getting some peaks of sunshine later on. But for today, again, we do have the best chance for rain and storms as we go into the evening, only getting up to 64 today. Not going to be the warmest day, so I would definitely recommend a rain jacket if you have it. Again, that clearing late before some more rain moves in as we go into the forecast for tomorrow. We're going to have those rain and storm chances. Again, more of the heavier rain a concern than severe weather, but 60, so even cooler for us as we go into your Tuesday. But we do peak a little bit with more sun on Wednesday into the 70s, and then we cool down to the upper 60s for a few days. But the nice thing, though, for us is Mother's Day weekend is just looking to be so nice for us. I'm so excited about that, but we got to get that pattern out of here. It's just stalling.
It's been just kind of a stuck pattern that we've been in here for the last few days. And while some of us are, dealing with the rain and the cooler conditions, other parts that are in the pattern, like the Central Plains, they got sunshine. They got nice weather. So
jealous.
Eventually that's going to get here, but we got to break down this pattern. Now let's talk about it. It's called an omega block pattern, as we know, and the reason for the naming is basically because of what it looks like on the weather maps, and we'll see that here in just a moment. But what it's leading to for us here the last several days is just these persistent rain chances. We've seen a fair amount of rain the last few days, and we're going to continue to see that here going through today and tomorrow. And then also the cooler conditions. And I mean, we are talking about temperatures in the 60s for highs, and eventually it's going to break down later this week and allow for more sunshine. So again, omega block pattern. Omega, the last letter of the Greek alphabet. You look at that on the map, and look, you can actually see the shape of omega right in here because of two areas, one right here over us, that's bringing us the cooler conditions and the rain chances, and another one over the west coast. And then right in the middle, we actually have high pressure and control, clear skies, sunshine, dry conditions here across the upper Midwest. And that is what's going to arrive here, as you saw in the 7-day forecast, leading to better conditions, getting rid of the rain and the cooler conditions here for us. So it's going to finally break down, and we can talk about some better weather looking ahead to really the middle to end of the week. And also, like you said, Mother's Day weekend right now looking perfect.
Oh my gosh, that looks like a octopus.
It actually kind of does, yeah.
You know?
So maybe we'll call it that instead, right?
I was just thinking about that. Yeah, it's crazy. You know, it's amazing these patterns when they set up and then just how they really impact us. And I know last week we talked about birds, but you know, we've got some good times coming up for bird watching. Yeah,
and actually there's a lot of birds migrating even across the Midwest right now. So over the next few weeks in Northwest Ohio, birds are the word. Hundreds of birders from all over the world are coming to the area to take advantage of the biggest week in American birding. They are waiting to see warblers and songbirds taking temporary nests for migration.
It's the warblers that people love to come here for. It's a small family of colorful birds. They're small birds, they're very active, they sing incredible songs, and if you work really hard during migration, you can see 37 different kinds of warblers.
And guess what? The biggest week in American birding starts in just 4 days in Oak Harbor.
So exciting. Oh my goodness. You gonna get out there with your binoculars?
I think I might, go check out some of the different birds. And it's really cool to see how many have just been migrating and all the different types that are really out there.
Well, also, did you know that today is actually Melanoma Monday? May is Melanoma Awareness Month, but today specifically is a day to raise awareness about the deadliest form of skin cancer. But melanoma is actually treatable if it's caught early. Now, we have a great story for you. 51-year-old Heather Radigan she said she used to love having fun in the sun, but unfortunately it led to multiple skin cancers.
Said it looks like a sunspot, but it never is going away. So is that something we should be concerned about? And sure enough,
this typically happen with the digits, so toes and fingers. Those are really important. They can also have skin cancer in areas that sun doesn't shine. We're gonna do a skin check today.
That is definitely the case. Heather says doctors discovered her melanoma early and removed it. Remember, always use sunscreen. Even if the sun is not out in full force, it can still come through the clouds. And also medical experts remind us to reapply every 2 hours. You'll need to be even more diligent with reapplication if you're sweating or if you're swimming. And I put this story in there specifically because I never thought I could get skin cancer. And then in March, I found a little dot on the back of my leg, somewhere not normal. And it turned out when they did the test, it was melanoma and they had to remove it. But my doctor said the same thing. If you catch it early, 99% is treatable. So just a reminder to share your story if you have one, like I shared mine, and also to let other people know, just get that annual checkup.
Exactly.
Make it part of your plan.
Yeah, just, get the annual checkup, see a dermatologist, and just make sure that, even if there's something that you look at and it's just like, I don't know about this, let's go get it checked out and just be, it's better to be safe than sorry.
Just like preparing for storms.
Exactly, yeah. And we've been talking about a lot of storms, and thankfully we can hopefully be finally done with that for at least a little while.
Fingers
get some more
crossed.
Sunshine and some quieter conditions.
Well, we're working on Mother's Day weekend for you. So, well, thank you so much. That's it for your weather update here on 10 TV Plus. Coming up later tonight at 6, meteorologist Jerry Martz, our chief, will be in. Until then, you can catch more news and weather online anytime at 10tv.com.